Yeah, so EPO stands for erythropoietin, and it is a hormone that's produced by the kidneys in response to low partial pressures of oxygen. And so when your kidneys detect very low levels of oxygen concentration, their natural response is to increase the production of erythropoietin, which is a hormone that's going to stimulate the production of new red blood cells. The reason this is so valuable is because it is feeding back to increase the amount of oxygen that can be delivered to the tissue. So in effect, the process would be low oxygen levels. The kidneys detect that as your blood travels through it. They then produce EPO, which is erythropoietin. That EPO then stimulates the cells in your body to make more red blood cells, which increases your oxygen carrying capacity. It will thus restore the oxygen content in the blood, and the loop will stop. The quickest thing that's going to happen is an increase in plasma volume in response to the greater red blood cell concentration or density. So it's going to cause your stem cells to produce more red blood cells. Well, when you produce more red blood cells, it's going to make your blood thicker. In response, your body is going to sense that higher pressure and that higher viscosity of the blood, and as a result, you're going to increase the amount of water that you want to retain in the body. So you're going to see an increase in both initially the number of red blood cells, but then secondarily the number of just fluid that your body is retaining to try and balance that concentration shift, because we know that water is going to follow high concentrations. We increase our red blood cells, we increase our water. As a result, the left ventricle itself, which is the primary machine that pumps blood to the rest of the body, is going to become thicker and stronger. And so you're going to see both changes in the blood components themselves, but you're going to see compensatory responses in the structures that move that blood throughout the body. So because you have higher red blood cell content, you're probably going to have an inflammatory response. You're introducing a chemical into the body that ought not be there. You may turn off the natural processes that produce EPO. And both of these things are going to have those potentially long-term consequences that we know can be associated with taking EPO. So short term is going to be high blood pressure. Your blood pressure is probably going to go up almost instantly. You might have clotting disorders instantly. So you'll almost definitely see a higher risk for things like stroke, pulmonary embolism, blood clots in the leg. Any type of clotting disorder will probably increase with taking something like EPO. The other thing you're probably going to see in the long term is a higher risk for things like a heart attack or a myocardial infarction, because you might have a higher likelihood of a clot, because the blood is thicker. You might even see higher pulmonary pressures, which would be even worse, because your lungs are very delicate in terms of their structure. They deal with much lower pressures than the left side of the heart. And so there's going to be structural changes in your heart that may or may not be reversible, which is why I would never, even if it were legal, encourage somebody to ever take it, because it's going to be more detrimental than it will to enhancing your performance.